But what do we got cooking for Bucks and Trucks today?
Well, we're gonna be talking a little bit of fraud. It's a little spooky this time.
Scam.
Yeah.
It sounds like a scam and it looks like a scam. It's a scam.
I hate to tell you, there's no Nigerian prince with $1 million ready to give it to you. He randomly found on the internet. So, not the person for you, right? So yeah, we're gonna talk about some different scams out there, some different ways maybe to avoid those scams, just little common best practices.
You know, I was reading the article and the statistics, but scams increased losses even more in 2022. There was over $8 billion in lost money due to scams alone. And so the average household, younger generations actually were less than older generations, but it all averaged out to each scam caused about a $650 loss per household in 2022.
So you really think about that, that's averaged against the whole population. Really, when you start taking them by individual, it's probably significantly more than that on average, right? So that's insane. Unfortunately, that $8 billion is not going to pay down our national debt. So, unfortunately. So yeah, obviously it's a big problem. I mean, I have had clients fall prey to some of these scams. My own father, financial advisor though he be, almost fell prey to one. My grandma has, unfortunately. And you know, you always feel bad. It's just embarrassing, right? But the truth of the matter is, these guys are getting better. They practice and practice and practice, and particularly, they like to take advantage of seniors, without a doubt. They're just not as familiar with the technology, or they haven't heard some of these different tactics, and it catches them off guard because they never had this before.
And even in the workspace, it's getting worse and worse. Fortunately, for the most part, our emails like Google, Yahoo, Microsoft Offices can filter out the spams and everything like that. But even recently, you know, I was guilty of seeing an email, clicking on a link real quick from a solutions partner, but fortunately that was all taken care of and everything like that, contacted necessary resources. But even it breached that spam folder and everything like that, to where you got to always be careful no matter what it is, who it is, where it's at.
So that brings up a great point. Let's start right there. The email scams, right? It always seems somewhere, some way, you're missing a package. They need to contact you for more information regarding a delivery. You have some subscription that's in jeopardy, or your account, or even sometimes they'll scam you by saying that you've been subject to a scam. You know, and that you need to call somebody and do this. All right, so let's start off one really simple way to maybe mitigate that, and that is right off the bat, check and see if the email even is reasonable, okay? Probably the look of the email is going to be there. Like if you go to the top of the email address, it'll look like it's from Amazon customer service or such and such place or whatever it is, right? But if you actually drop it down, there's usually a little arrow, or you can click on it, and when you drop it down, you'll notice that the actual email address came from was like Johnny Wears Pink 27, you know? So it's, you know, you can usually right there go like, that doesn't really sound like it came from a real support person.
If it says @ and there's a bunch of gibberish in the alphabet behind it, that's not true.
Yeah.
So.
And if you're still not sure even after do that, great rule of thumb, call them, contact them directly yourself. All right, contact the company, contact their customer support. They'll very quickly be able to find that out for you.
Yeah.
But that's a big one right there. I mean, inevitably you have 1,001 emails. And guys, emails are not secure. It's, you know, just as easy as I could see that person's email address, they can see yours.
Right.
So just remember that it's best practices. Don't send something that isn't secure over email. No social security numbers, birthdays, you know, anything like that. So
other big one is the phone calls, everything like that. You know, some are horrendously obvious that it's a scam.
Hi, this message is intended to contact you. My name is Steve Martin, and I'm calling regarding an enforcement action executed by the U.S. Treasury intending your serious attention. Ignoring this will be an intentional second attempt to avoid initial appearance before a magistrate judge or a grand jury for a federal criminal offense.
Other ones, you know, sometimes if the phone audio's not great, you could get confused. I know a lot of the older generations with grandkids get targeted with, hey grandma, I need money, can you send it to this bank account, blah blah blah. Simple best practices for that is, if you're questioning whether it's a phone call or a text or an email that one of your friends, grandkids, or your kids is needing money or information, simply hang up the phone or don't respond to the email. Contact that person directly, or all of them, to confirm whether it's them or not. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely. And especially if it's from a number you don't recognize, right? You know, unfortunately, AI has many wonderful things. One of the terrible things is it can pretty quickly replicate the sound of a person's voice in real time.
Right.
So you actually have a human talking on the other end of the phone, but he sounds like your grandkid, and that's the problem. So call them directly. That's, again, back to that same thing. Contact the person directly. Don't try to reply to whatever it is. Don't call their phone number. Call the number that you can find yourself and see if that's right. So, best practice. Government agencies, they're never going to contact you, generally call you. They're probably almost always going to use a letter, maybe an email. Even email, they typically don't use, right? So again, you can pretty much just rule those out if you didn't get a letter, right? And if you have a question about it, again, call your local and state office.
Well guys, that wraps up this episode of Bucks and Trucks. As always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. As well, be sure to check us out at our website at pciaozarks.com.
Hey, if you are struggling with any of these, or you ever run into a situation where you're not sure whether or not this is true or not, always feel free to reach out to us. We would love to help you in any way, because of course we're all about protecting you and making sure that life is better and more financially stable for you. If you have any questions, again, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. But in the meantime, as always,
keep on trucking and go Chiefs!